I'm doing right now, guys.
11 a.m. and the one that has the little square are the same destination in theory.
In theory, but for whatever reason, we have to do both.
Yep.
So I just turned everything on because it allows this to be recorded. I'm going to explain why I did that in a little bit. So I just had to do it now so that it records. Okay. So, right, Stage 10 is a platform that allows us to stream to multiple social media sites at the same time. You can stream to a maximum of 5 locations. These are the locations at the same time. You can have a maximum of 4 faculty, I believe, on screen at the same time. You should currently see a small video of yourself in the top right corner of your screen, and then you should see my screen as like your big video. The big video is what the audience sees. The small screen is just your personal feed. If you are not on the big video, you are not visible to the audience and they cannot hear you. The one exception to that is if you are actually, I'll explain that when we get there. I'm not going to go over like content development and like getting an LMS page set up because I know you guys are familiar with those things. Promo usually starts 4 weeks in advance. Pretty simple. A couple of key points. You want to make sure that you have the faculty phone numbers in front of your face, not know what the file path is. You want them like written down on a sticky note next to your computer. The reason that is, Alyssa, I really want to change this general process document, but I don't know if it makes sense. Can you remind me to talk about that later?
Yep.
The reason that is Stage 10 takes a huge amount of internet bandwidth to run properly. And so even if you like are going on the server to pull a file down, that can interfere. So you don't want to have to go on the server for anything. You don't want to have to go on your email for anything. You want everything you need at your fingertips. Housekeeping note, make sure you're emailing Kim, Alyssa, and me to set time on the calendar for technical tests, for practice, for actual live streams. Everyone is welcome to practice as much as they need to, including the coordinators. I want you guys to feel comfortable in this system. But it has to be on the calendar. And the reason for that is when we give faculty an invite link, just like the one in your calendar appointment, there's a limitation on how many times we can log into Stage 10 before that invite link becomes obsolete. It's a security feature. So basically, it's so that like faculty on past broadcasts can't log in and hijack a new one, which like I don't think that's an issue for us, but not everybody who uses Stage 10 is working with doctors. So it's just a security feature. Why is my Stage 10 going crazy? How do I make this shut up, guys? Sorry, let me turn on my do not disturb. Okay. That was very distracting. We, generally speaking, when you're doing a Stage 10 program, we have 3 integrity staff members involved. The first one is the administrator, and they're the one who's running the back end, which is what you see right now. The second person is the support person, and I will go into specific responsibilities for that a little bit later. The third person is the person who is sharing the slides. So faculty is not running slides, and the reason for that is because you can only share your camera or your screen. You can't share both. So if we want to be able to see the faculty while they're presenting, somebody else has to run the slide deck. So that's usually the third staff member. And this is where I was saying the one exception to if you don't see yourself, we can't hear you. If your slides are showing on the screen, your audio is also showing on the screen. So generally speaking, you just preemptively mute yourself. So like I just muted Niquea, you can mute yourself or I can mute you on my end. But the person sharing their slides absolutely must be muted. Because like if your dog is barking in the background and you're not muted, the whole audience can hear that. So I am going to talk very briefly about a technical test, and then I'm going to move on to the administrator SOP. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, technical tests, we do them with all faculty because sometimes like their institutions will have firewalls that won't let them log into stage 10. We've run into that before. Sometimes they don't really understand how to turn on their camera or their microphone. Usually they're pretty quick and painless, but we just want to make sure everything's working. Ideally for a tech test, they are, you want them to do it from wherever they're going to do the actual program. So if they're going to do the program at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning from their house, you want to run a technical test at their house on their Wi-Fi. It doesn't always shake out that way, but that's the preference. Even if it means logging on at night or logging on a weekend, it's better to make sure that the laptop and the Wi-Fi and the location that they're going to use for the real thing works. So it's usually pretty quick. We have them log on. We make sure their video and their audio is working. Usually like I'll just put myself in these boxes right here. These say audio only. So basically that's how Alyssa is set up right now. You can't see her face, but you can still hear her talk. So I'll put myself there and then Niquea, you're getting put on screen. I'll put the faculty on screen and we can actually hear you at the moment, Nye, like if you talked. And I'll say to faculty, actually you can't because I didn't push you. I didn't hit the pink button. So if I hit the pink button, you'll see Niquea come up on your big screen. And I'll tell faculty, you know, this is what's going to happen the day of. This is what's going to happen the day of the program. This is what you can expect. Please log on 15 minutes early. All of those things. And we'll go through a little bit of that, like when I start going through the administrator SOP, but it's basically designed to make sure the faculty's machine is working and just give them a quick rundown of what is coming. So going into the administrator SOP, and again, I'm going to jump around a little bit and I apologize for that. You want faculty to log on to stage 10 at least 15 minutes before the program start time. So if the program is an 11 a.m. program, the latest they should log on is 10:45. And there's a couple reasons for this. The first one is in case they have any tech issues, even if their test went well. The second one is like last minute questions. The third reason is probably the most important, and that is every time a new person uses the invite URL to log into stage 10, it disrupts the audio, and it can take up to 5 minutes for the audio to recover. So you want to get everybody on so that the audio has time to stabilize before you actually start the program. And that's really important. So we provide faculty either the day before or the day of the program with their invite link. They don't get it until the last minute because, again, if we do it too early, it will be rendered obsolete by the time the program rolls around. I did not say this on the other call, but it is in the user guide. They absolutely, absolutely must be in Google Chrome. It only works in Google Chrome. Stage 10 is specifically designed for Google Chrome. As the administrator, you generally assign who your support person is going to be and who's going to be running slides. Usually slides are run by someone who knows the content, just because that makes it a little bit easier. And then as the administrator, when you're getting ready to log into stage 10, Ethernet generally is better than Wi-Fi if you have it. You need to make sure everything else on your computer is closed. Teams, documents, email, other tabs, everything totally shut down. You open a Google Chrome incognito window instead of a regular Google Chrome window that shuts off like some of the background processes. So it's less things interfering with your internet. And then you open a new tab and you type in speed test and you run one. The speed test is really important because not just for the administrator, but also for the person sharing their slides, also for the faculty. As the administrator, your download and your upload speed both need to be higher than 15. So like clearly, we're okay. And as the faculty or the SlideShare person, so that's for the administrator and I, and then for the SlideShare person and the faculty, upload and download should be higher than 10. And so the reason this matters is like we had a program 2 weeks ago and Allison was planning on running the slides and we did a quick technical test like internally to make sure that it looked okay. And her slides were super, super blurry. And she was like, I don't get it. My internet's great. Like I can stream a movie, no problem. And we had her run a speed test. Her download speed was fantastic, but her upload speed was like 1. And the thing is, like when I put somebody on screen, their computer is uploading their feed to stage 10. So if your upload speed is very slow, it's not going to work. Allison having that issue is the first time we've actually ever run into that issue. So that's hopefully a good sign. Like we really haven't had a problem with faculty or anything having low upload speed. For the administrator, the reason it has to be higher is like if I have 2 faculty side by side, I have to download your streams and then upload them back out as a feed to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So I have to have both, basically. So speed test is good. It's interesting. Like I found I have better speed at my house than I do at my parents' for no apparent reason. Sometimes you need to like move closer to your router, things like that. You can see this like little green thing right here. When you're streaming out, that's your stream health indicator. And it tells you like if your stream rate is good, if it's orange, it's iffy, if it's red, it's bad. The more people you have in, the more it will fluctuate. Sometimes like it will drop momentarily and then stabilize. That's usually not an issue. Poor stream health does not usually affect audio. It only affects video. So you may see a lag in the video, but the sound is totally fine. Unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do about it like while you're streaming. And so that's why having everything closed down, being in an incognito, running the speed test in advance, that's why like those things are so important because you have to prep to be as prepared as possible to have good stream health. And like, obviously you want to make sure that nobody's like streaming a video or downloading things in on your Wi-Fi at the same time that you're using it. So once you're logged into stage 10, you could see right now that I'm screen sharing. So you don't see my face. Usually though, I'll do camera and mic, and then I'll just cover my camera. So it'll be a black box, just like Tina's. Nobody really sees the administrator during the program. Like, I mute myself, I'll have my camera black, so that if I ever accidentally put myself in, it wouldn't be disruptive. But like, you're not. I mean, like, you could see everybody's faces. You know what you're pulling in. You're not going to grab the wrong person. You see this add or invite feeds button up here in the top left. If there's less than 5 people in here, it'll like appear where Nicoya is. So you click add, copy invite URL. That's what you give to faculty to have them join the broadcast. Again, day of, day before, no sooner than that. Add a local camera. I would be turning my camera on. Share your screen is obviously sharing your screen. When you click share your screen, it gives you an option. It's not showing it for mine, but it gives you an option for sharing an application, which would be sharing like PowerPoint specifically, or sharing your whole screen, regardless of what application is showing up. So then once everybody's logged in, this is the list of like feeds that you can pull in. You see this like center box right here. This is where you pull people into. Up at the top, you can't really see this, but there are different layouts you can choose. So right now I have like full screen. I could pick side by side. I could pick somebody up in the right corner with Alyssa's slides in the background. I'm pretending those are slides. I could pick 2 faculty in the corners with Alyssa's slides in the background. I can pick 3 people side by side. So you can play around with it. And then again, these boxes underneath are audio only. So that's if you don't want someone on screen, but you want to be able to hear them. You'll notice that like I've changed this 50 times, but it didn't change in the top right corner up here. No changes are applied until you hit the pink arrow. So you know, if you need to change the scene to this, but you accidentally put the wrong person in and you need to fix it, you can, because you didn't hit the pink arrow yet. So nobody can see that you pulled the wrong person in until you hit the pink arrow. The other thing that's good to know, so down here in the bottom left, and because I already went through this once, you can't see, but before I put these specific pictures in, there was a button and it was like download sample assets. If you click that, it gives you like a series of stock images and stock GIF files that say like live in 5 minutes or 30 seconds left, or just like basic things like that. They're super corny, but like if you need something in a pinch, it's good to have. And then if you click this blue arrow, you can bring in specific images. So these are important because 5 minutes before the program starts, you put a welcome image on screen, and then you click the pink arrow to put it in the top right corner. And then you turn on your destinations. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you turn everything on. And this stays up for 5 minutes because sometimes there's a lag in it going live on the social media platforms. And then at the end of the 5 minutes, you would bring the faculty onto the screen to start the program. Now, the one thing I will say is you don't want to wait until it's time to start the program to set up the faculty. So basically, if I had the welcome image up I can then change this image here. And as long as I don't hit the pink arrow, it doesn't affect what the audience is seeing. So we have what's called a lower third overlay down here in the bottom left corner. So I can put in the title. And then I can switch it to affiliations. And then I can switch it to disclosures. And then at the end of the program, when they're doing the summary, I can put comment below with your questions and claim credit here. And then when the program is over, I put up a thank you image, but you have to make sure you take off the lower third overlay. And the thank you image then stays up for 5 minutes, so that hopefully people like actually claim their credit. We also have headshots of the faculty in case we're having video issues. This way the audio will still play. We also have this one. So those are just like some options if your video quality is like truly, truly tanking. That will allow you to put something on the screen other than super pixelated faculty. So I'm just going to show you guys real quick. I'm going to put up the two of you side by side. I'm going to hit pink arrow. So now you should see a big image of Kim and Nicoya, and then you should see yourself in the top right corner. And what I tell faculty is if you are on the big screen, the audience can see and hear you. If you are not on the big screen, they cannot see you or hear you. So if you need to blow your nose or drink your coffee or whatever, make sure you're not on the big screen. If you're not on the big screen, the only person that can see you is me. And that's through this right here. So like even at the beginning of the program, the welcome image is up, right? And I'm getting ready to put the faculty on screen with the title image. I can see them and make sure they're all looking up before I put them on the big screen. Again, you just want to make sure your administrator is muted, your slide runner is muted. Like switching the content in this box is as simple as picking your layout and then dragging and dropping people or images. So it's not like hard, even with these images, you literally are just click and drag and put it where you want it. I'm just looking at my notes, guys. Give me a sec. So you're going to have a moderator guide that either you or the PM is going to create. And basically, the moderator guide is just like, okay, Mama's on the phone. The moderator guide is just like what you would use for a symposium. Okay. So, Nia, I'll answer your question in 1 second. So just like a symposium, right? You have like the faculty notes and then the slides they present. And that's what you use to tell you like when the slides are on screen, when the faculty are on screen for a discussion, etc. So that's how you know like when you're changing what the audience is seeing. So Alyssa, can you share slides? Okay, so hi Alyssa, you're muted. I don't think I muted you. I think you muted yourself. Okay, so this is what it looks like with SlideShare. Sometimes, like if you have a moderator and they're introducing a program or introducing a speaker, I mean, sometimes the title will be centered and we'll have like 2 people. I have no idea what's happening out there, guys, but Very enthusiastic.
Mama,
Be careful, don't trip.
Bunny.
Oyster bunny?
Monster bunny.
Okay, go watch.
Come on, buddy.
One thing I will say with the slides is you have to run a quick test. Alyssa, jump forward a few slides. Pick one with a long title. Okay, so like see how this goes right to the window. So you just want to check and make sure that nothing gets cut off by the window. And if it does, you just add a line break on the slide. It's not a big deal. But you should always test that in advance. And then, you know, if I'm reading the moderator guide and it's like, all right, in 3 slides, the faculty are going to discuss. I don't have to wait until 3 slides from now to set it up. I can set up the faculty discussion. And then when they get through the 3 slides and Kim says, I would love to hear what Nakoya thinks, all I have to do is hit this pink button and they pop on the screen for the audience. If you're waiting until the last minute, you're setting yourself up to be late on the transition. So it's really important that you're paying attention to where the faculty are in the mod guide. I actually print out my mod guide and look at the transitions, and like 3 slides before a transition, I'll make a note on the mod guide to myself to prep the transition in the preview feed so that all I have to do when the time comes is hit the button. Once the program is over, again, you put up the thank you image. I generally use the chat to tell the faculty, like, thank you so much. This was great. Like, I don't need anything further from you. Have a great rest of your day, evening, weekend, whatever. And then they can log off. I wait 5 minutes and then I hit stop all for the destinations, and it ends the live stream and the recording. We leave it up for 5 minutes so that people hopefully actually take the post test, although that's not normally the case. So now that's the gist of what the administrator does. So like the biggest thing is paying attention to the transitions. And it does take a lot of time and attention, and it also takes all of your internet bandwidth. Like I even turn off the Wi-Fi on my phone. Like anything I can do to devote the internet to stage 10, I do. So now I'm going to switch to the support responsibility SOP, which is probably the role you guys will play to start. And I'm going to give you like top level what you do, and then I'll drill down a little bit. So Alyssa, you can pull the slides down. So the number one thing that Alyssa does for me personally, like the number one thing I benefit from during this program, and the different PMs may have different preferences here. Alyssa and I are on the phone from the whole program start to finish. And I don't talk to anybody else. If anybody has an issue, BD, Katie, anybody else who's watching the program sees an issue, it goes to Alyssa. And the reason for that is like, if I'm in a group chat about this and people are talking about how great it's going, that's awesome, but it's really, really distracting and I don't want to miss my cues to transition. Also, a lot of the time, Alyssa can tell them the answer to their question and I don't need to be involved. But this way, if there is something that I need to be aware of, Alyssa is just telling me that important piece of information and not distracting me with other things. So that's like the thing that like directly impacts me as the administrator, is she's the gatekeeper. And it allows me to preserve my focus. But there's a lot of back-end stuff that she does. So like when before the program starts, she goes into the back end of the LMS and she finds the event page. And at the very top of the event page, she edits it so that it says like, join us now for our live stream. And she provides links to our Twitter profile, our Facebook page, and our YouTube page right at the top in big letters, so that if people go to the event page to look for the links because they didn't keep their confirmation or whatever, it's right there in front of their face. So she'll do that like 15, 20 minutes in advance. Even though the live stream's not up yet, it'll take them to the right place where the video will appear when the time comes. And then she leaves it open. So the way our LMS functions is like you press update, and then she just leaves the page open so that she can edit it again in a little bit. So then the other thing she does like during the program is she makes sure that all the feeds go live. Usually she has set up the destinations, which are all of these that I showed you like in the settings section. She has set all of them up about a day in advance. We'll show you where to find the information you need for them in a few minutes. And then during the program, she's at each of the destinations, making sure it shows up on Facebook, making sure it shows up on YouTube. For Twitter, you have to actually manually put it on Twitter. So she does that. And she'll show you how she does all of those things. If the descriptions of the Facebook and YouTube videos need to be edited for any reason, she takes care of that. And then once all of the videos are live in their intended places, she takes the direct links to the videos and updates the event registration page. So now instead of just directing them to our Twitter in general, she's directing them to the actual tweet with the video. So that's what she's doing during the program. And then the other thing she's doing is just watching for comments and questions. And if we get like audience questions, she'll text them to the moderator. If there's ever anything alarming, like we have a COVID-19 vaccines live stream next month, we imagine we will get some sort of anti-vax presence on that. So she'll be monitoring for that and flagging anything that we need to respond to or we need to report or whatever. After the broadcast is over, like I said, I put up the thank you image. It goes for 5 minutes. I end the live stream on my end by hitting stop all. She will then make sure it actually ends on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And she'll give me confirmation once they're all turned off so that I can leave stage 10. When I leave stage 10, she will go in. She'll pull down the recording of the program. She will delete all of these destinations and reset them to our test accounts. And then she'll go into the LMS one last time to add the post-test and evaluation link. The other thing that she does that is not on here that needs to be added is she pulls the views from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter the day of, so we know how many people tuned in live. And then the next day, she creates this analytics document that we'll have a sample and directions for, hopefully by the end of the week. And that will, then she sends that to the program manager, to Katie, to BG, so that we know a little bit more in depth of how many people were on, how many people tuned in later, how long the average viewer watched, things like that. A general note on all of the SOPs, if you're going through it and you feel like there's a step missing or you feel like something doesn't make sense, please tell us. We've been working in this platform for probably 7 or 8 months now. And it's intuitive to a degree for us. So it's totally possible that like we skipped a minor step that we do without thinking about. So definitely ask if you run into something like that and you want clarification. And the other thing is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, like they all change their rules every 5 minutes. So if you're following an SOP and it looks different when you're looking at it, it probably means that Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter updated and we didn't catch it yet. We didn't stumble across it yet. So let us know when those things happen, so that if there's troubleshooting or anything like that, we can help you. So I'm going to put Alyssa's screen on full screen for you guys, and she's going to show you what it looks like right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter to set up the RTMPs and set up and what the broadcasts look like.
Okay, so on Twitter, everything gets run out of what's called Media Studio, as you can see right here. You'll notice that not every account has Media Studio. It's only for accounts that have run paid ads, which is why we can't test on Raquel. We have to test on this PIOC.me account. We're not sure if that's permanent or not because they still have Periscope, so we're trying to figure that out as we go. But for right now, this is the best way that we know how to do it. So you click Media Studio. It's going to be slow. And you want to go to producer because this shows every piece of media that's ever been tweeted on the account. So you want to go to producer and you're going to go to create broadcast. So I'm going to back up one step. So prior to the broadcast, when I created the sources for Larissa, I went into sources and I created one. So you just do create source and you would say, I put stage 10, you select your region, and then it'll give you this information. RTMP URL and RTMP stream key. You just copy and paste this information directly into stage 10 RTMP. The fields match. So RTMP URL is server URL, stream URL. Those are all synonymous. And then stream key is stream key. That will create a source on Twitter. The cool thing about Twitter, we haven't done this yet, but the cool thing about Twitter is you can use the sources over and over. So once it's on here, I can pull from the stage 10 source as many times as I want. So for right now, we're going to stay in broadcasts.
Alyssa, one sec.
Yeah.
Sorry. So for Twitter, guys, even though you're setting up an RTMP, you are not specifying a date and time. And
Yes.
that is a big difference from the other platforms.
Yes. And the reason why you do that is on the other platforms, you're able to edit while it's live. On Twitter, you're not. So if I schedule it to start at 11 and the faculty's 5 minutes late and you start at 11:05, it started at 11:05. I can't, it started at 11. I can't change the start time. I can't change the description. I can't do anything. And now you have 5 minutes of dead time in the beginning of your video with no video. So we just push it live. So what you're going to do is create broadcasts. You're going to type in the name of it. And just as an FYI, the name does appear underneath the video. So you don't want to put anything like you want it to apply to the video. Click a category. And then you're going to select your source. So I'm going to select stage 10 because that's the source I created. And you're going to wait for the preview to generate. It does this every time, but it'll come. Okay, and then I'm going to mute myself just because I can hear myself twice. And you're going to go create broadcast. When you create the broadcast, you're still not live on Twitter. You have to tweet it out. You're going to hit tweet, and you're going to just write some text and hit tweet. Now your video will show on Twitter.
And so, guys, something that we do in advance is we create the tweet in advance, like all the language, and also the descriptions for YouTube and Facebook. Everything gets prepared in advance so that when Alyssa's creating that tweet, she literally just has to copy paste it.
Yep.
Like you don't want to have to waste time typing it all up or finding the links. Like you want everything to be at your fingertips because there is a delay from when I press like go live on stage 10 before it gets to Twitter. So we have 5 minutes to get everything up and running on all of the sites. So you don't want to waste time like trying to find the CME link for the program. You know what I mean?
It's 2
So
weeks
all of
ago, it
that
took a long
gets
time.
all of that gets prepared in advance.
And it's worth noting, and we had told the PMs, the amount of characters you're allowed when you push live, when you tweet from the back end, is less than a regular tweet. We don't really know how many. It decides to be a different amount every time. But you definitely test it a couple times, so at least you're close. Because like I had to tweak it a couple times, take out a colon here or a comma here, but you want to get it as close as you can before the day up, because that does take time also. Okay.
One other note about Twitter specifically, and I should have addressed this during the tech test, but I didn't. One of the things that we asked faculty to do in the first 5 minutes, like when the welcome image is on screen, is we asked them to share the broadcast on their Twitter, and if they have a professional Facebook account, also on their Facebook. And so Twitter is a little weird. And if you do like Twitter has 2 options. They have a retweet and a quote tweet. And like a retweet is you literally just share the other person's post exactly as it is, with no added commentary from you. A quote tweet, you add your own commentary, and then you tweet it. The issue that we found is that, so see how Alyssa just quote tweeted and it's appearing as a link versus a retweet is appearing as the actual video. Obviously, the video is going to be more appealing and more likely to get engagement. We had previously thought that if you quote tweeted a tweet with a small amount of text, like so the video just says la 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 la, like that's only like 8 or 10 characters. And our previous tests had said that if we quote tweeted that with commentary, it would appear as a video in our feed. Clearly, that was not the case this time. So usually we just have faculty do a straight retweet with no commentary on it so that it appears as a video that people will click on and engage with. The other thing we've done is given them like a GIF file that says live now on and then the handle for what profile it's on. And it just has like the faculty images moving around in bubbles. So basically, you just want to make sure that whatever they're posting in that 5-minute period is going to appear in a way that people are going to interact with versus just like a link that doesn't even tell them what it is. So, yeah, Alyssa, this totally negated our theory.
I know. I was like, are you kidding?
So, that is Twitter.
Okay, so on Twitter, in the event that when Larissa ends it, it doesn't end, you just hit end, and then it's done. And then it'll end on here. Pretty self-explanatory, and then there'll be nothing here, and you're good to go. On Facebook, I'm going to show you how you schedule them. So you're going to go to Pages, and this is assuming you have access to these pages. The Allison account does. So you should be okay there. You're going to go to ICE Test. From here, you're going to go to Create Live. Any day now. And that's just saying that it will create an event to match the video. And you're going to go to Schedule Live Video Event. So you're going to post to a page you manage. It's going to go to ICE Test. And it's not going to let me do it because we're live now, but you can at least see. You'll type the event name, start date, start time. This is where you'll copy and paste that pre-made text here. You'll hit category and next. I don't usually upload a cover photo because the welcome image will serve as that once it's there, and you would hit create. It wouldn't say update, it would say create.
Hey, so what's the forgiveness period for Facebook? Like if you're late? Because I know there's a rule about that.
I'm not sure, but it's a lot more forgiving than Twitter. I can look it up though and get back with a real answer. Once you hit update, once they update, it'll say create. You're gonna go to upcoming live videos and events, and you're gonna hit set up live video. You're gonna make sure that the default will be use camera, but you wanna click use stream key. Then you're gonna copy this and paste them right into stage 10. Server URL and stream key, and then you'll be all set. And that's literally how you do that. Same sort of thing, you can end it here because this is already going. It's a little different, like you wouldn't have the end option when you were scheduling. But you can end the live video through here. We usually don't on Facebook because it knows when Larissa ends it through stage 10 and it kind of puts itself off there. You can always edit these videos on Facebook. It's a lot easier on Facebook than it is on any other platform. You just click the video, if that'll let me. And you're in here and you can always edit it here. Change the description, change the title, all that. Pretty simple on Facebook. On YouTube, this is what it looks like when you log into YouTube. You always want to make sure you're in the correct account. So we're in ICE Test, that's perfect. Just as an FYI, your videos will show up in your channel. If you're looking for them, to like pull links or anything, they'll show up in the your channel section. To schedule, you're going to go to create, go live, and then you'll come here. Because we already have one going, it takes you directly to manage. It usually will not. It'll start on stream and you'll have to click manage. Then you'll go to schedule stream. It'll ask if you want to create new or reuse. Either one is fine because you have the option to change them. So if you did create new, you would just have to fill in the title. You want to make sure this is always public. We had an issue one time where it was unlisted and we didn't know. And what that means is that the video is streamed to YouTube, but people can only see it if they have the direct link, which is not how we distribute the video. So you want to make sure this is always public. The description goes here. I usually click education or science and technology, whichever one. Date, start time, and then you're going to here select no, it's not made for kids. That's not any sort of bad designation. It's not going to bring people there or give it like a rated R rating. It's just saying that it's not a kid's show. And then you're going to hit create. I'm not going to because we have one. And then you're going to come here. You're going to click on the title and you're going to see exactly this. Right now you may see a preview because we are live. It'll be like this. It won't be analytics. It'll be stream setting. And you'll pull the stream key and the stream URL, which is the same as server URL. And copy and paste them into stage 10, and it'll be the same thing, and then you'll just exit out. Because we're live, you have the option to end the stream, and you have the option to view analytics and to look at the stream health. When you're just scheduling it, you can click these, but they'll be blank. It'll just be stream settings. And again, you can manually end, and that's pretty much it. I just also monitor the front end of YouTube and Facebook when I'm doing it to make sure that the videos are showing up. So like I said, you go to channel.
Tell me where the comments, did you say where the comments show up? Did I miss that?
Oh, no, I didn't. Good point. People will chat in here when it's live. I don't know if there's a way to turn this off or not, to be honest. I don't think so. But you have to monitor this from this back end. You don't always see them on the front end. And this is where I will send a text to faculty or whoever the moderator is, and they'll either address it verbally in the video or they'll send me a pre-typed response to send to the viewer. But you have to monitor this because you don't want to leave people hanging or, God forbid, it's something questionable. And then you can monitor on the front end by going to your channel. And there I think you can see like if people just regularly comment on the video, not in the chat capacity. Hate hearing myself.
Okay. So, Nye, have you considered having them retweet and then comment? I didn't think of that just because comments don't always show, but they certainly could. That's not a bad idea. Okay, I am going to. Hold on. Okay, apparently I can't add my camera. I was going to add my camera. Okay, Tina and I, we can hear you. So if you have questions, you've got 5 minutes, and then I'm literally going and hiding from everyone, so I don't have to talk anymore.
I don't have.
I know it's a lot, but I
That's
think
what I was
when
gonna
you're doing one piece at a time and you're like following the SOP, I think it will be significantly less overwhelming. Like I think the fact that I'm literally showing you like every single potential outcome all at the same time makes it seem like a lot more work, but like you're seeing two different people's jobs essentially. And again, not all of it happens at the same time because obviously Alyssa sets up the destinations a day in advance, and so it's not all happening at once the way that this video makes it appear, so to speak. Tina, anything for you? Kim, anything that I left unclear or unsaid?
I will mention one thing that I noticed that I wasn't able to see before when I was just playing in stage 10. At the top of your screen, when you're like not an administrator inside of stage 10, it'll also kind of let you know whether or not you're live, because there's that big thing on the top with either the red, the orange, or the green circle. So that might help if you're trying to figure out whether or not like you need to have something prepared, or if something gets like, if you're already live, if your sound is going through.
The day of the live stream, is the support person on stage 10, or are they just on the phone with the administrator?
You're not on stage 10. Just on the phone.
So since like you're like on all of the other platforms, so yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I think just getting some practice on it, maybe, because it seems like a lot, but yeah, if I can maybe play around with it and just get familiar with it, it's probably not too bad.
I was on mute that whole time, guys.
Oh.
Yes. So make sure you email us. Naya, I'm just going to mute your mic for a sec because I'm getting feedback from you. Definitely, we want you guys in the platform. We want you to feel comfortable. Email us, get on the calendar. I know it's blocked out for today, but you know, beyond that, there's plenty of flexibility. And then, you know, email us your questions, email us if you're stuck and need help. You know, if one of us can pop on, we will. You know, the goal is to get everybody feeling comfortable. And the other thing that I did not say in this test that I said in the prior one, like if you want to practice like actually running the switches and like changing the scene and everything else, you know, ask each other if you can hop on, ask one of us if we can hop on, grab a moderator guide from an older program and practice the transitions. Like you can set up internal tech tests. I mean, I think I made you sit through one of those with me. You know, so like you don't want the first time you're running the show to be like the real deal. You want to run through it and practice it internally first, and you know, ask people to jump on with you and play a part from that script so that you can practice it. And like I said, the biggest thing with the transitions is printing it out, making notes, and having every transition ready to go in advance. That's the easiest, the way to make it easiest for yourself, essentially. All right, I am going to turn off all the destinations. And